All right, so Commissioner, what did you learn after seeing our story?
I watched the story twice. I was shocked, devastated, disappointed. I can only say my thoughts and prayers go to the family and all families, all individuals that might have been affected by this situation. It's absolutely inexcusable. There's no justification for it. There was my understanding, some internal mistakes that were made along the way. I talked to the sheriff earlier in the week about the outage of the 911, and then I became aware of this. And I talked to the undersheriff that's in charge, assistant sheriff in charge of this, and asked for a complete investigation in terms of what happened and why it happened.
What preliminaries have you been able to find out? They said there was a staffing issue.
Well, there was a staffing issue that they didn't have enough people on staff, which they're hired. We have employees that it's difficult to handle 911 because it's not something you can schedule. One time you're going to get one call an hour, and next time you get 20 calls in an hour. Normally, what I was told is this was an anomaly during that time frame, that window, that there were so many calls that came in. What should happen, in my understanding, is that these automatically be triggered either to the fire department or to North Las Vegas or to Henderson, who've got mutual aid agreements with them, that then they could assist in that case. For some reason, that didn't happen. I mean, the supervisor should stop supervising, pick up the phone, and answer some of those calls when that happens. I think they're well aware of the situation that happened, the mistakes that were made, and I'm confident that the sheriff has told me this is his #1 priority. We're going to get this fixed so that it never happens again, and no other family has to go through what these folks are going through.
This situation that we did our report on last night involved people calling at around 7 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Tonight at 6 p.m. we have a whole nother group of people that called at around 2 o'clock that same afternoon. Again, delays, hold times, minutes upon minutes, waiting on hold. Not the same time of day, not the same people on staff.
Yeah, I don't know if it was that day that they, gave too many people were off. I don't know what could have possibly happened that during that time frame, that whether it was a 12-hour time frame, a 24-hour time frame, a week time frame, whatever it was, it is inexcusable that those calls get put on hold for that length of time. And when, in fairness to the family, to the citizens, when you're on hold in that situation for a loved one needing, emergency care, 15 seconds has to feel like an hour that you're there and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting and your heartbeat is running and you've got someone there that you love that you're trying to help. It's got to be devastating and excruciating to go through that. It's unacceptable. Whatever has to be done, we have met. It's not a funding issue. There's plenty of funding to hire people at 911 to answer these phone calls. I don't know what happened. I don't think the sheriff right now knows what happened, but I was promised that they would do an absolutely thorough, complete, exhaustive investigation as to how we got to this point where there weren't enough people answering those calls, and then why there wasn't a kickover where they automatically went to the fire department or they automatically went to one of the other call centers. Bottom
line, this could have been avoided?
Sadly, if we'd have had more people on staff, more people working that day, or a better system we'd have answered I can't speak. I'm not a medical personnel. I can't speak if the man's death could have been avoided. We could have certainly avoided the wait in the phone call. That could have been minimized significantly.
And when they tell people, when you get the recording, hang out, don't hang up, don't try calling from another phone, don't have friends call, just wait. Can you imagine that would be hard for someone to? Oh,
it's beyond being hard. I'm sure she's having trouble breathing while she's on the phone. And then she tried from another phone, and then her husband's cell phone, and then a neighbor's phone. And they've got 4 calls going in. And I don't know if when there were 62 calls, if these were 62 individual incidents or these were 15 people that each had 4 calls going in. Either way, they're inexcusable. It doesn't matter if there was one call that waited too long. When you're in that situation that you desperately need support from the 911 system, that needs to be handled immediately, and that doesn't mean getting put on hold, waiting for 60 seconds or 2 minutes or 3 minutes for that to happen. It's not acceptable. It has to be improved.